Hi everyone, this is Veronica, and today we are going to discuss a recent Supreme Court judgment. That was where Supreme Court has said that if a man calls her wife prostitute, it amounts to grave provocation. So if in result wife kills the husband, it won't amount to a murder. So we'll discuss this topic in detail. For my video updates, you can follow me on Insta and Facebook. The PDF will be uploaded on my Telegram channel. So this is our channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for any government or exam or UPSC, if you want any courses given in the list here or for additional information, you can call on these numbers, or for additional information you can visit our site to the FAQ section, right? So let's see what is the issue here. So Supreme Court has ruled that if a husband calls his wife a prostitute, it would amount to grave provocation. So please, the words I have highlighted, you need to put a stress here. So if a husband calls his wife a prostitute, it amounts to grave provocation. And if as a result the death caused in such an instance, if the wife kills the husband in the heated movement, it would be punishable as culpable homicide, right? Not amounting to murder. This is what it won't be a murder, because murder is a different thing and culpable homicide is different according to the law, right? So it would amount to culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. That is what Supreme Court had ruled. So let's see what is the background of this case, because this case dates back to 2002 and was reported from Ooty. According to the police, the deceased husband suspected that the co-accused, so here the first accused is wife, accuser's wife, and the second co-accused is Nawaz, right, name of the person. So according to the police, the deceased husband suspected that the co-accused Nawaz, then at that time he was 22 years old, was having an affair not only with his wife but also with their daughter, elder daughter. So on October 20, 2002, what happened around 9 a.m., heated arguments broke down between the couple. The husband not only called her a prostitute but also accused her of turning their 17-year-old elder daughter into one. So Nawaz, who was a resident of the same building, he interrupted and tried to pacify the situation. When the husband refused to budge, Nawaz slapped him, which made the victim unconscious. So later, both wife and Nawaz strangulated the victim to death with the help of a towel. Now, in order to conceal the evidence, the duo burnt his body. Now, the accused were convicted on the basis of extrajudicial confession, which was made by the wife before a school teacher after 40 days of this incident. The two accused approached the apex court after a trial court in Tamil Nadu, which awarded them life terms, and Madras High Court upheld the sentence. So here what the court has said, that everything occurred in the fraction of a minute. Since the accused, because of the aforesaid conduct of the deceased calling accused number one, that is wife, and her daughter as prostitute, was deprived of the power of self-control, said the apex court. So this is what the Supreme Court has said, and this is the background of this story. Now actually this present case reminds me of one of the very famous Nanavati judgment. So you might have heard about the Nanavati judgment. This was a very famous court in famous case of Mumbai, and even there's a Bollywood movie on it too, that is Rustam. You might have seen that. So this famous Nanavati judgment, in which the Nanavati, he was a husband, he killed his wife's lover in a fit of rage, whereas in this case, the present case that we are talking about, it is the other way around, because here the wife's lover killed her husband. So in the present case, the provocation was given to the wife, but the paramour intervened on her behalf, right? Now let's see once again who are the justices who are involved in this case. You can see the names here, Mr. Dinesh Maheshwari and M.M. Shantanagodar, right? So so earlier these two accused, they were convicted under section 302 of IPC, that is, they were held for murder. To now the conviction got converted by these two judges to section 304. So what is 304? This is part 1 of IPC, that is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So see, culpable homicide is also of two types, where it amounts to murder and other where it do not amount to murder. So here culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So here what the judges had said, the deceased provoked the accused. So according to the judges, what they found out, that the deceased, the husband who is killed here is the deceased, he has provoked the accused by uttering the word prostitute. And in our society, judges said that no lady likes to hear such words. Her husband was very abusive in nature, and most importantly, she was not ready to hear such words for her daughter also. Okay, so the incident, according to the judges, they said this incident is a result of sudden and grave provocation by the deceased. Here the deceased is the husband who is killed. Now this is the whole case. So here we need to know about what is culpable homicide, right? So culpable, if you see the English dictionary, culpable is something which is one is guilty of or wrongable, blamable thing, and homicide is when one human being kills the other human being. So culpable homicide is manslaughter, right? So here let's read these sentences. Now see, what is culpable homicide according to our law? Whoever causes death by doing an act with the intention of causing death. So see, here there is no direct killing of a person, but the death is caused by doing an act. If you do an act with the intention of causing death, because you will do a certain activity because you know it will ultimately lead to the death of the other person, or with the intention of causing such a bodily injury, that one person wants to cause the other person such an injury that it would result in death, or with the knowledge that he is likely by such an act to cause death. That if you are doing something, that suppose you are failing the brakes of a car, and you know the other person is going to drive and will be killed if he will definitely meet an accident and get killed. So this will amount, this kind of offense, it will amount to culpable homicide, right? So this is what is according to our law. But culpable homicide is not amounting to murder. So this is another case where culpable. So this is culpable homicide, where you do an act, as a result of your act the person could die, so that will be culpable homicide. But culpable homicide not amounting to murder, there are 5 exceptions to it. See, murder is something where a person has an intention, there is an objective, and there is a direct killing. So that would amount to an murder. But here you can see there are 5 exceptions where culpable homicide will not amount to murder. One is provocation. So this is the case in this judgment, that there is a provocation. I'll give you illustrations explaining these things, especially the provocation part. Second is right of private defense. Third is public servant exceeding his power, like if someone has arrested another person, and if a judge is giving a life sentence or anything, he is using his power. So that is a public servant exceeding his power. That is an exception. If there is a sudden fight, if there is a consent, if there is a person above 18 years and old and there is a consent, so these will amount to culpable homicide. Now exception 1, that is in this case culpable homicide is not amounting to murder if the offender is deprived of self-control. According to judges, this is the case in this backdrop of this activity. Deprived of self-control by grave and sudden provocation, and it caused the death of the person who gave the provocation. So if there is, so I'll give you the examples ahead, and here you can relate this exception with the present case. Other, I already told you these things. Now I'll give you the illustrations where you can differentiate between murder and culpable homicide. So in these examples you will be knowing what is culpable homicide. So see these examples carefully. Now suppose there are two people, A and Z, right? A under the influence of passion excited by the provocation given by Z. So here Z provokes A on certain grounds. There is a argument or whatever. Z is provoking A. Now what A does, he intentionally kills Y. So A kills Y. He kills A kills Y. And Y, who is Y? He is son of Z, right? So Z, let me explain again. Z is provoking A, and in this provocation, as a result, A kills Y. Who is Y? Y is the son of Z. So here this is a murder, right? Why it is a murder? Because here provocation was not given by Y. The provocation was not given by child, and the death of the child was not caused by accident or misfortune in doing an act. It is caused by provocation by Z. So it would amount for a murder, right? So this is a murder. Now let's see another example. Y gives grave and sudden provocation to A. Again, there's a person A, there's a person Y, and Y is provoking A. A on this provocation fires a pistol. So A is having a pistol. So he fires a shot at Y. But A did not know there was another person also standing there who is Z. And by mistake, when he shot from his gun towards Y, Z is killed in the because he was standing somewhere, but A did not knew about it. He was out of sight. So here A killed, by mistake, A killed Z. So here A has not committed murder, but it is a culpable homicide, right? So you know the difference now. What is a murder? What is a culpable homicide? Because A did not knew that Z is standing there. He was killed by mistake on provocation by Y. So this is a culpable homicide. So I'll give you another example. As I told you, another this exception is public servant, or the right of private defense in public servant exceeding his powers. So let's see another examples. So A is lawfully arrested by Z. So if you see, A is a police officer. He has arrested Z. Now A is excited to sudden and violent passion by the arrest. No, A is the person who is arrested by Z. Z is an police officer. Now because he is very angry why he has arrested me, A kills Z. So this is also murder, in as much the provocation was given by thing done by public servant, because Z was bound by his duties. That is why he arrested A. So here it would amount for murder, right? So there are another illustrations you can read in this PDF when you'll get the PDF. So now the difference between murder and culpable homicide is clear to you, right? So in the case that we discussed, what judges noticed that the husband has provoked his wife, and in the arguments there was no time to cool down, and the wife killed husband. If a husband is A, so it will be culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. So again, let me make you clear about the murder. So see, if death has caused mostly likely result of an act. So there is a person A, there is a person B. If A is directly killing B with the intention to kill, right? So it will be a murder, because here the death is most likely result of an act. Okay, it's not a result of an act, it is an act. So if death is the likely result of an act, it will culpable homicide. But if A is failing the brakes of B to kill him, that will be culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. Okay. So now see what are the contentions in this present case, why there is a certain criticism about the Supreme Court judgment. So for that, let's examine this present judgment. Can we say the accused number 2? So here are two accused. One is wife, and accused number 2 is Nawaz, who was probably an illicit relationship with the wife. Now, can we say that accused number 2, that is Nawaz, was also provoked by the said utterings? So this is the first question. Next question that is arise, who was he to get provoked? Who was he? Because there was an argument which was going between wife and husband. Then who was Nawaz? So is Supreme Court trying to say that the male involved was also provoked because he could not hear such words against the ladies? Is it something like that? Next, he was the one who took first step and slapped the deceased. Then only did accused number 1 got provoked or reacted. He climbed down the stairs and then slapped the deceased. So if she had been provoked, last question is, if she had been provoked, then she should have reacted at instant. Was she waiting for accused number 2 to do something to get provoked? Had she been provoked or lost her judgment, then she should have been the first person to react, not the accused number 2. Right? So these are the contentions over this case. Right? So now there's another thing, that undoubtedly it must have been extremely difficult for the woman to live with her abusive spouse who used such derogatory language for her and her daughter. But she could have left him, divorced him or anything, but she chose not to do so for reasons best known to her. So here one cannot overlook the fact that taking decision is not easy for women in our society, for the choices that they make are in no way free, but they exercise their freedom of choice in coexist surroundings. Right? Usage of this term prostitute for his wife and daughter could at best be considered for mitigation of sentence for the wife because she had her reasons why she participated in the murder. But what I feel, unfortunately, Supreme Court has made this ruling. It would now be used as a defense frequently. So what are your views over this case? You can write in the comment section. The PDF of this lecture will be available on my Telegram channel. Thank you.